Yo, what is up everyone? This is OJ over here from PlayerEssence bringing you the latest news, rumors, and discussion on the Nintendo NX. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I wanted to discuss Nintendo and how they truly feel, how I think they truly feel about optical media, because I was looking at their history and I was seeing what they've been doing over the years and just basic stuff that anybody could research and see. And with all the rumors going about that Nintendo is going to be bringing back the cartridge media, because Nintendo really held on to that cartridge media. They held on for as long as they could, because even if we go back to 1996 or the N64 time period, even then cartridge media was not something that people wanted as far as the industry from the video game developer standpoint. Even back then, even though cartridges had just came out from being from multiple systems, the Sega Genesis, of course, the Super Nintendo, even then people were like, no cartridges, just because of the cost of them compared to the new optical media. Remember, Sony launched the PlayStation in 1993, 1994. So even then, CD media was there, and that was, heck, during the Super Nintendo then. So the fact that Nintendo still went with cartridge media shows that they really had a resistance. They really did not want to do optical media, despite everyone from Sega, Philips, everyone switching. Maybe that's the reason why, because they had that failed partnership with Philips. No, that's not it. But Nintendo really wanted to hold on to cartridge media because they like cartridge media and the benefits that cartridge media proposed to gaming. Really small load times, and that was the biggest thing probably back then, was the load times were so freaking long on PlayStation 1. Not only that, but also the destruction, scratches, things like that could interfere with the game, whereas cartridges, not so much. But going forward, Nintendo was basically forced out of using cartridges. I don't think anybody would have supported them if the GameCube came out and it was some type of cartridge based. Like, nobody would have supported them at all. But even though that the GameCube wasn't cartridge based, it was still different than what the other companies wanted them to do. Everybody was like, okay, DVD, that's what you want to do. You want to have DVD, but Nintendo went with the mini disc to kind of combat piracy, but that also left it to where you can't put as much info on disc. But still, Nintendo got plenty of third-party support, and I think that's kind of been lost. A lot of people look back at the GameCube and say, oh, well, there wasn't third-party support, but that was not the case. The GameCube actually had a ton of third-party support, so mini discs wasn't necessarily an issue from what some people say that it was. I mean, it could have been for some developers, but if you look at games like Resident Evil and Tales of Symphonia, they were multi-disc, and it was no problem. And the Xbox 360, the following gen, went multi-disc instead of the Blu-ray, so it was really no issue. I don't think that was a big issue at all. And the thing about it is this: Nintendo, even after the GameCube mini disc, and then going forward to the Wii, Nintendo finally standardized and used a different form of DVD or DVD to have that, and that was fine. The technology then was super dirt cheap, especially for Wii discs. But going forward with the Wii U, they didn't necessarily go Blu-ray discs. They still went with their own type of optical media, their own proprietary media, which is different from a Blu-ray or what Microsoft is using on the Xbox One, which is also Blu-ray as well. So I was looking at all that and how Nintendo's resistance to just follow the norm when it comes to the format of their games. And this is why I think this is probably going to happen as far as cartridges goes. I think Nintendo hates optical media. And the reason why I think Nintendo hates optical media is because of the load times, and is because of the certain issues that optical media can propose. For example, look at the PS4 and Xbox One. The whole installs, the hard drive thing. You know Nintendo hates hard drives. We all know Nintendo hates hard drives. They didn't put one into the Wii. The Wii had space issues. With the Wii U, they put a very small amount of flash memory so it can load quicker, so it can be quicker, and then if you want to buy a separate one, you can buy a separate one to hook up to your Wii U, but still, they didn't include that in there. So I'm thinking Nintendo hates this format, and I think that they are going to move back to cartridges. It's a high possibility that they are going to move back to cartridges. And I want to talk about cartridges first, because there's been a lot of misconceptions about cartridges. People say, oh, well, it's going to cost developers too much. There's going to be, they're not going to want to do it. If you look at Sony and Microsoft, they're going to be using optical media, and then the cartridges, no, nobody's going to want to develop on that. But guys, this is not the same type of cartridges. This is not your dad's cartridges, okay? These cartridges would be like a Nintendo 3DS or like a PS Vita. They're going to be high capacity cards. They're going to be a lot more space than a 3DS, which is 8 gigabytes. I'm not sure how much PS Vita holds, but I'm pretty sure it's near 8 or above that. This is going to be high capacity, guys. This is going to hold 30 plus gigabytes. These are going to be new, they're going to be very different, and they're not going to be super expensive. They're going to be the size of a Nintendo 3DS game or a PS Vita game, or maybe slightly larger. They're really not going to be big. So cartridge media, as far as the price goes and as far as what it can do for today's games, very different. You can even look at Sony. They knew that cartridge media was even better because they had optical media for the PSP, then switched over to cartridge media with the PS Vita because it's better. Now that is a handheld. Moving parts as far as a spinning disc necessarily isn't optimal for a handheld, but still the cartridge media was better than the PSP. The load times on PS Vita was better, and PS Vita for the most part was a better overall product than the PSP. It just didn't sell as much because of various factors that of Sony's own doing. But going forward, I think Nintendo can look and see what cartridge media, as far as how fast it is, the load times, and be able to apply that to having an amazing new type of experience on the Nintendo NX. And even if you look at some of the things that I've heard people say, like, oh, well, you won't be able to patch games, which is, guys, ridiculous. Once again, which is a ridiculous thing because it's going to be a rewritable cartridge. Just like the PS Vita can get patches, so can 3DS games can get patches and updates. It's no difference there. So going forward, I think Nintendo can actually cut out the whole install times, and I think that's the thing that Nintendo hates too. I think Nintendo hates the fact that you have to, with this type of media that Microsoft and Sony are using, or this type of format with what they're doing and the architecture, you have to have these huge installs on your hard drives, and I just don't think Nintendo wants to supply a hard drive like 500 gigabytes or 2 gigabytes and have people sitting down and installing games. That's why the Wii U doesn't do that. The Wii U doesn't do that at all, and I think that they're very resistant to that type of play because it gets in the way of you playing games. Now, is that right or wrong? That's on them. That's on each individual. Some people don't care about the install, some people do, some people preload the games digitally, things like that. But I think going forward, Nintendo with cartridges and using digital media, I think they want to pretty much alleviate that whole thing. And when Mr. Kimishima says a new way to play, I think these are the type of things that they're talking about. I don't think it's just talking about how Nintendo plays, but I think it's kind of encompassing how the whole industry, as far as the console industry, is going to play. You just sit down, you pop in the game, there's no install times, the loading times are quicker, and here's the biggest thing, guys, and I think this is where the kicker comes in. I'm pretty sure Nintendo wouldn't be doing this if third-party developers and developers were not happy with it. Whatever that they're doing, I'm pretty sure third-party developers are cool with it. Because we saw the complaints. We saw the complaints early, very early with the Wii U. We saw the issues. I'm pretty sure Tatsumi Kimishima is looking to avoid those situations. And if they can solve the issues of current gaming with the Nintendo NX, yet make everyone happy, providing enough space for people to download their games without the installs to where you can pop in that cartridge and not have to take up all your space, yet still have enough memory to download the games digitally and have those. Whereas the Wii U, that was not the case. 32 gigabytes was just not enough. If they can alleviate those issues, which I think the Wii U was a stepping stone, this could be a new way. This could be the revolution that Nintendo was trying to aim for with the Wii U, but just didn't get. So we're just going to have to wait and see. So basically, to kind of sum everything up, I think Nintendo does hate the optical media and how it has the installs and how it has the things that where it just eats up your hard drive. I think Nintendo hates that, and I think that they're actively trying to find ways to solve that problem. I think Nintendo hates the load times that you get in a lot of these games, even their own games. Heck, loading up Smash Bros at times takes quite a while to stream all that data for them. So I think Nintendo's trying to find ways to alleviate that, but at a price that third-party developers and themselves can be happy with, because they wouldn't be going forward with this if the price of these cartridges was too high or way over Blu-ray. I think it will be the same, if not lower, if Nintendo can do something about that. and we're just going to have to wait and see that. But I don't think they'd be doing this if the price was too high. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Also, make sure you hit that like button if you did like this video. Let me know you guys want more theory videos or more discussions like this going forward in the future. And also subscribe to PlayerEssence for more news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks, and everything on the Nintendo NX. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and we will see you for the next one. Peace.